Hey guys, I am so glad you're here tonight. Now listen, you're just kind of coming along with me on this little dinner journey. I wasn't really planning this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna invite my friends into my house and we're gonna cook an appetizer for dinner. How about that? It's a healthy little nibble. You know, I was thinking I was kind of in the mood for tacos, and I'm digging through the refrigerator. I don't have any corn tortillas. I didn't have any in the pantry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So then I was thinking about a fun little appetizer I had put together a few months ago. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just do that. Let's just have something really easy and super delicious for dinner. And you know what? It's kind of like if you want a quick little happy hour, let's just do that. Okay, so first thing we gotta do is we're gonna turn our pan on here to about a medium high. You're gonna put in your pan a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And here's the kicker. I'm using ground chicken, but you could use ground turkey, you could use ground beef if you want, whatever ground meat you like. I just happen to love ground chicken in these things. I'm actually kind of a ground chicken aficionado, if you will. I just love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And this is what I had too. So, but typically I don't do a lot of ground beef. There are just certain recipes that you have to have a little ground beef, but for the most part, I'm just gonna do ground chicken in most of my recipes, but you can substitute whatever you like. Okay, this is gonna get nice and hot, and meanwhile, I've got an onion here, and I'm gonna add onion and green chilies into my meat after it starts getting brown. So let me dice up that onion. And this could be actually, you know, a really good party starter. So if you're looking for a fun little healthy nibble, this is a good one. I'm adding ground chicken, onion, green chilies, and then I add, you know, cumin, chili powder, salt, pepper to, you know, spice it up. And you could also add a can, you drain and rinse a can of black beans. That would be really, really good. As a filler, if you need to make a lot of this and you only have 1 pound of ground meat, add a can of black beans. It goes a long way. I've got a little green spot here in my onion. I don't want that. I don't want that. I guess it won't hurt anything. And you know what I always have? I always have a garbage bowl. I take my shopping bags and I put it in a plastic bowl or a glass bowl, and that's where I put on my garbage. And then when I'm done cooking, I just tie it up and put it in the garbage can. It makes short work of things. So you'll always see me tossing something in a bowl. That's just my trash bowl. Okay, this is getting nice and warm. So I'm gonna roll that oil around my pan there. And then we're gonna put this pound of ground chicken breast in my pan. Okay, I'm gonna break that up a little bit. Move it around the pan so it gets nice and happy. Okay. Let that rock and roll for a little bit. Put this in my garbage bowl. I'm so glad you guys are joining me for my appetizer dinner tonight. This is fun. It's like a little virtual happy hour we're having. How about that? That's a win. Okay, let me get this little onion chopped up here. And I'm chopping it up kind of not too fine, but pretty fine. I don't want big chunks of onion in this because the peppers that we're filling are kind of small. And you could absolutely use regular bell pepper and then just quarter them and just fill them like little boats. That works, but what I love is I've got these little mini bell peppers, the little sweet bell peppers. And what are they here? Nature Sweet, mini sweet peppers. And I got this bag at Costco. You can get them at grocery stores, Costco, Sam's Club, wherever, you know, whatever you have in your area. Just, you know, grab those. They make it fun. Okay, while this is rocking and rolling here, I'm gonna brown that chicken a little bit. Okay, we're gonna let this get happy, and I'm gonna switch cutting boards here. I'm gonna set this aside, and then I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna take my cute little peppers, grab my bowl, got my peppers here, make some room. I gotta make some space here. And all I'm gonna do is I am going to cut my pepper tops off. And then there's a little membrane of seeds in there. I just cut these in half. And then I just pull, with my fingers, I just pull the centers out. You can use a knife if you want, however you like to do it, but we're just making nice little boats. That's all we're doing, and then we're gonna stuff these little cuties, and they're gonna go in the oven. We're gonna broil them, we broil them before we stuff them, and then we put them back in the broiler to melt the cheese that goes on top. Okay, our chicken's browning up nicely. So I'm gonna keep working on these peppers here. And I also don't mind a couple of seeds. If a couple of seeds get in there, it's like, meh, no big deal. Hey, this is my happy hour dinner. This is cash. We're totally casual tonight. Nothing fancy about this meal. It's just delicious, though. Okay, the chicken is getting nice and golden brown. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add the onion. And I am gonna add the whole onion. Little green bits and all. Some of them made it in, that's all right. They're gonna get nice and happy in there with the chicken. Okay. We're gonna let that saute for a little bit, or actually brown. It's not sauteing, it's browning with the chicken. We're gonna let that rock and roll for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna add the spices. So we'll let that go. Now I'm gonna keep cutting the peppers. Okay, we've got the peppers cut. Now I'm gonna stir our chicken and onion and see how it's browning up. Okay, the onion's getting tender. The chicken's browning just a little bit. So now's the time that we're gonna add our spices to this. And this would also be the time, if you wanted to, you could add a can of drained and rinsed black beans. Okay, I've got a can of green chilies, so I'm gonna add my green chilies. Yum. Give those a nice little stir around the pan. I love roasted green chilies. I love them in anything. Here, we can get them in the summertime. They come in from New Mexico. And they roast them. They go into parking lots, and they get the big roasters, and they roast them. And oh my goodness, they're just absolute heaven. Heaven, heaven, heaven. Love green chili. I think it's like a season, because when the green chilies come, everything is green chili. You make a lot of green chili, and then you clean them up and freeze them, and I've got them all year round for different dishes. But because I'm doing a simple little, end of the day appetizer, quick little dinner nibble, I just decided to just open up a can of green chilies rather than fussing with the frozen ones that I have ready to go. Okay, we got our green chili in there. Now we're gonna add some chili powder. Oh, that's a new one. I got a new one here. All right, chili powder. I don't know why I end up putting these little shaker things on, because I always end up using more. So I'm gonna use a good tablespoon of chili powder. And I usually, when I do my seasonings, you guys, I'm not kidding, I usually use my palm. So I got a nice garlic powder, and I'm gonna use a teaspoon of that. Actually, I'm gonna do about 1.5 teaspoons of the garlic powder. If you don't have an onion, you could add, if you're not adding onion, you could add an onion powder, okay? And I am going to use about 1 teaspoon of coarse black pepper. Love this stuff. Love coarse black pepper. I know, I go heavy on the seasonings. You season it the way you like it. Your happy hour, your appetizer, you do it the way you want. And then about a good tablespoon of cumin. Love cumin too. Okay, that is smelling like heaven. We stir this around. The chicken's starting to brown, the onion. The onion is tender, it's done. So this is just enough. We're just gonna spin this around just to get all the flavor all nice and happy in the pan. Okay, now I'm gonna add a little bit of kosher salt. I'm gonna add about 1 teaspoon of salt. And I give it a little taste. My husband says that I could eat fire, because I can eat food just straight hot out of the pan. I know it's crazy, but I do it. I don't know how I can do it, but I can do it. So here I'm gonna take a little piece of the chicken. That's really good. I don't honestly think I need to add anything to it, so that's awesome. It is done. This is done. I'm gonna turn that off and sit this aside. Now what I gotta do is I gotta get a baking sheet out of here, and we're gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil onto our baking sheet, and we're gonna roast these bell peppers, the little sweet peppers, just for a couple minutes under the broiler. Just get a little char on them and just soften them up a little bit. So let me roll these around some oil real quick. Get them nice and oiled, and so they're going to get nice and golden brown. Just on the edges, they get nice and crispy. Love this dish. I hope it makes it to into your rotation too. Appetizer dinner. Okay, so this is what I have. They're just on the cookie sheet, and I flipped them to where the top the side that we're going to fill is up. So let me pop these in the oven real quick. So they're going to broil for a couple of minutes. The meat is done. I'm going to grate some cheese. Yes, I do. I grate my own cheese. I don't like pre-grated cheese, but that's just me. Hey, you do what you like to do. I just love, I don't know why I like to grate cheese, and I like how real cheese like this melts. It melts a little bit better, I find, than the stuff that's already pre-grated. But sometimes we do have to use the pre-grated stuff in a pinch. But typically I just like to grate my own. And I usually keep a little zippy bag of the grated cheese in the refrigerator just for times like this. I just cut the block. I just cut a hunk off that block. So that's why I didn't have any already in there. I wasn't that prepared. Let's see how much this is. This looks like a lot of cheese. Hey, if a recipe calls for a cup of cheese, I'm going to go with 3. There we go. It looks like a lot, but when you're covering the whole pan of this, it seems like a lot, but you know what? It kind of isn't. I don't know. There we go. Let me see. Sharp cheddar cheese, Tillamook, delicious. There's a little piece here that has my name on it. Okay. The bell peppers are going to get roasted in the broiler. The meat's done. The cheese is done. As soon as they're out of the broiler, we're going to stuff them, top it with cheese, put it back in the broiler, and then it's going to be time to eat. Hey, hey, hey! They have been in the broiler for about 5 minutes, so let's mosey over there and get them out and get these guys stuffed so we can have our appetizer dinner. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, see how they barely have a little bit of char on them? That's exactly what we're looking for there, guys. We want that nice little char, and we just want the peppers just to be a little tender, just to soften them up a little bit. We don't want them fully cooked, because once we fill them with our mixture and put them back in the broiler to melt that cheese, we don't want them to be soggy. We still want them to have a little bit of a bite to them. So let's get busy. And they're hot, so be careful with this. We're gonna go take a spoonful of our chicken, green chili, onion, wonderful seasonings, and we're just gonna fill these little peppers. I just randomly just go through, and some of the meat ends up on the cookie sheet, and that is just a-okay. It's almost, you know, they're almost like they are like little nachos. They're like little veggie nachos. Okay, we've got them all nestled together. The meat is just kind of, it looks messy, but just wait, they're so delicious. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the cheese, we're gonna take our delicious grated cheese and just top this whole pile of loveliness. And then they're gonna go back in the broiler for just a couple minutes, just so that cheese is ooey and gooey and bubbly. And then we've got our chicken, bell pepper, taquito, nacho, appetizer, whatever we're gonna call it, deliciousness dinner done. It's a pretty quick little meal too, you guys. Okay. Told you we had a lot of cheese there. I used a lot of cheese. Oh, what the heck, let's just do it. Let's just go for it. Why not? Okay. There we go. Now I'm gonna pop this back in the broiler for about, well, probably 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how quickly the cheese melts. It might be quicker than that. I'm gonna keep a really hawk eye on it because I don't want it to burn. And I'll be back in a second with the finished product. Yay! Okay, you guys, here's the moment we've been waiting for. Yay! I'm gonna head over to the broiler and pull out our bell pepper nacho taquito appetizer dinner deliciousness. I think I actually am gonna call them nachos because they look like a nacho. You'll see in a minute. Let me pull those cuties out of the oven here. Oh, look at that. Look at that amazingness right there. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's our bell pepper nachos. We're just gonna say bell pepper nacho. Turn that off. Okay, so they ended up in the broiler for about 5 minutes, okay? Depends on how your oven cooks, and I had them on the top rack. So these are exactly where I want them. The cheese is melted, the peppers are nice and tender. I didn't want to keep cooking them too long because I don't want the meat to get tough. Now, at this point, this is when the fun starts, okay? This is when it actually turns into a party. You could add sliced avocado. You could add guacamole. You could add sour cream. What I have is I did not have any sour cream or avocados to make guacamole. So I went through my pantry and I found some black olives. And I thought, you know what? I love black olives on my nachos. So I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle some sliced black olives on there. And then I also just have a jarred salsa that I like. So that's what I'm gonna use for mine. But a little sour cream would be quite delicious. So let's just take some of these black olives and sprinkle them on our bell pepper appetizer nacho deliciousness. There we go. Yeah, so good, so good. Okay, oh, this looks so good. Okay, I'm so excited for this. I'm so happy that I decided to do appetizer for dinner. Okay, here we go, you guys. I am just gonna take my big spatula and I'm just gonna serve myself up a few of them. Here we go. They're gonna have to cool a little bit. Kind of divide them up here. I got 3. I got 3 peppers here. That's perfect. And now I'm gonna take a little bit of my salsa, and I do like this Herdes salsa. It tastes good to me. And I do have some fresh tomatoes that I could dice up and put on there. But this is just, you know what, this is a quick, little easy, you know, weeknight appetizer for dinner. So I didn't want to overcomplicate it too much. So here we go. I'm gonna put a little bit of this salsa on there, and that's gonna cool it down just a little bit too. Look at that. I think that looks amazing. It's gonna taste amazing too, I just know it. Okay. I'm so excited. Ah. Okay, here we go, guys. Let's see if they're too hot. Let's see if they're edible. The little guy might be. Yeah, little guy is. Let's see. That is a winner. Delicious bell pepper nacho, whatever we want to call it, dinner. It is so good. You guys, I hope this makes it into your rotation. Like I said, it's a party pleaser. So, you know, you make a big tray like this and you can, you know, start your party off like that. Little dollop of guacamole, some sliced avocado, sour cream. You are good to go. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to dig into this. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight for this crazy little, like I said, not planned, kind of right off the cuff, little, you know, join me in my kitchen, happy hour dinner tonight. So glad you're here. And I'm gonna nibble this and then I will talk with you guys later. Take care of yourself. Do something kind for yourself. See you later. Hey, you guys, you caught me eating the best part. I love the little brown cheese bits on the inside of the pan. Anyway, in all seriousness, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight for this fun little appetizer dinner. Our little mini pepper nachos. They're just so delicious. I love meals like this. And you know what? I'd hate for you guys to miss the next little crazy thing that we decide to do, or the next craft, or the next recipe. So listen, make sure that you slam that notification bell down there and be a subscriber. I'd love to have you come along. See you guys later.